think that's what gives us a great advantage as a company. We have scientists from diverse backgrounds and expertises in biology to chemistry to physics to, we can go down the list to 12, 15 different key areas of research that help us create, in my opinion, some of the best products in the entire world. And today I'll talk to you about one of them. It's called ASOC Y-Span or U-Span, okay? And we truly do believe this, that it is our most advanced anti-aging supplement that we've ever created, okay? And we've created a lot of incredible supplements over the years. In fact, Pharmanex, it was founded in the year 1994 by Joe Chang, with extensive expertise and background in the pharmaceutical industry. Michael Chang, same thing, worked for a small company called Merck. Maybe you've heard of them. And then another guy by the name of Carl Jurassic. Carl Jurassic, he recently passed away, but he was an emeritus professor of chemistry at Stanford, and he is known as the father of the birth control pill, which I find it to be a little ironic. How can you be the father of a pill that controls birth? And still, it's very perplexing. In any case, just incredible people, and what they did at that time, back in 1994, they saw this entire industry of supplements, and they saw it was filled with a whole bunch of snake oil, with a whole bunch of stuff that just made great promises, but didn't deliver on those promises. They didn't have the quality, they didn't have the studies, and so what they did is they brought this extensive, research and years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry, and created this company called Pharmanex, with pharm being the first part of that name, with a pharmaceutical approach to creating high-quality supplements, okay? Doing clinical studies, using effective ingredients, and most importantly, using those ingredients in right amounts that are based on clinical research. And that's where this all started. 20 years later, we've created a product called ASOC Y-Span. I can tell you, this product has taken longer to launch than any other product in our history. It's been about 5 years of research and development that's gone into this. It's an incredible product, and I'll talk about this. So this right here, this marketing at the bottom, just years you can enjoy life, be more active, energetic, and healthy. This is another way of saying quality of life. That's what it's all about. It's not about living till you're 1,000 years old. Personally, I don't want to live that long. Or even 146, like it says in Time magazine. The only way I want to live that long is if I live with good health and have good quality life. That's what this product is all about. U-Span or health span. It's the number of years that you live with good health. Because for me personally, I think your health is the absolute most important asset that you can protect. Right? If you don't have good health, to me you don't have anything. So it's about protecting your health and fighting against aging. And that's what we do. So these are the 3 key reasons why we do believe and why we know from a scientific standpoint that it's our most advanced anti-aging product. And I'll talk about each one of these things, okay? Number 1, it's about these aging defense mechanisms. Now this is a term that we made up to encompass real mechanisms that we have inside the body. It's just an encompassing term to talk about these things. Number 2, it's based on our gene insights, and I'll talk about that more into healthy aging. Part of that's with our acquisition of LifeGen Technologies and their research in caloric restriction as this incredible model to study and understand aging and do something about it to fight aging a little bit more effectively. And then number 3, it's a blend of ingredients that you just can't get even if you have a perfect diet. So does anyone here have a perfect diet? I certainly don't. And if you think you do, you're lying to yourselves. It just doesn't exist, right? And in fact, it's very common for people to overestimate how well they eat. That's why this biophotonic scanner that Graham talked about is an incredible tool. In fact, do we have the scanner here? Yeah, there it is. Can I hold this for a second? I won't break it, I promise. Now I'll send you one from Provo. I've got about 10 in my office, so. So this is the S3. In fact, we're working on a new version. It's in the future. Don't worry about it. We're always working in the future. In fact, we have products that we have manufactured that are already ready to go 2 years down the road. We have products that are on the table 4 years, actually almost 8 years down the road. So we're really trying to think about the future of aging and what you want before you even know what you want. Isn't that awesome? My job is so great. I got to think about what you want before you even know what you want. But this is an incredible tool because what it does is it measures antioxidants. It helps you know if your supplements are actually working. If you're absorbing these powerful anti-aging ingredients and you're receiving those benefits in your body. And this unit is great because real science has to be measured. Okay? If you can't measure something, it's not real science. But with this, we can actually measure the difference in the impact that this is having on your life. And as a result of it, when people's scanner scores go up, it changes their lives. They see this as an incredible tool, and they come up to me all the time. I can't tell you how many people I've scanned where they're like, yeah, my diets are great, I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. A lot of times there are these health maniacs or sports people, and they're like, yeah, I'm really good, and they get scanned, and they're in the red zone, which is very, very low. It's like 15,000, and they're like, yeah, I really don't eat that well. But this is a great lie detector test, because it measures those things, and it doesn't lie. So it's an incredible thing that can motivate people to change their lives. Because I don't know if there's any healthcare professionals in here. I give presentations to a lot of doctors and healthcare professionals who are healthcare practitioners or doctors or chiropractors, PTs, you name it down the list. A lot of them are looking for a tool to motivate people to change their lives. Because they tell people, oh, you need to lose some weight, or you need to exercise, or you need to eat better. And, we hear these things all the time, and we know what we should do, but we don't do it. That's what's great about the scanner, is that it can actually motivate people to change. And when they see that change in the scan score, they keep changing their lives. It's an incredible thing. And I truly believe that this ageLOC Lifespan product is a product that will motivate people to change their life. And they'll see that change in different ways. So let's start. Let's talk about these aging defense mechanisms. Okay? So aging defense mechanisms. These are mechanisms that we have inside the body that fight aging. Okay? Keeping it very, very simple. Mechanisms that we have to fight aging. Because in reality, our bodies are designed to live young. They really are. Like, we're born with these innate mechanisms that are designed to help us live young. Negative side effects that happen with aging. Because aging is systemic, isn't it? I mean, when we talk about our brain health and brain tissue, what typically or generally happens with aging is our brain shrinks. We lose out on brain volume. And that can impact things like cognition and mood and memory and so many different things. What about blood vessels? With aging, what happens typically is they become harder, right? Exposed to diets and toxins and different things, and they also build up things called plaque. Plaque isn't good for blood vessels, right? It makes stuff sticky, it air circulation, heart health, and brain health. What about muscles? What happens to your muscles as you get older? It's away, right? It becomes more frail, more, weak. And that can lead to aging and problems. In science, they call it sarcopenia, right? Muscle wastes away. What about bone? What happens to your bone as you get older, typically? Yes, all of that. I didn't hear it, but I'm sure you said the right answer. Bone, it becomes more porous, right? It loses density. That can increase your risk for fractures. And in any case, what I'm trying to say is that aging is systemic, and these are things that are happening. But the thing about it is that we're still designed to live young. We have processes and mechanisms inside the body that are designed to fight against these normal age-related processes. Okay? And I'll talk about that. And it all begins with gene expression. So we already got a good lecture about gene expression, what it is. Genes are not things that you wear with holes in them nowadays for teenagers. Genes are little segments of your DNA that have a function inside the body. Okay? And you have over 20,000 genes in every single cell in your body. You have trillions and trillions of cells. But what gene expression does is it's an incredible thing because it's more than just turning the light switch on and off. I like to think of it more like turning the volume up and down on a radio, right? Because you can turn it up and down. Same thing with gene expression. The expression or activity of genes can actually change with aging, where it becomes, louder or softer, so to speak, if that makes sense. And gene expression really controls the destiny of our cells and aging. It has a very, very direct impact on these things. And what gene expression does is it can actually determine what kind of cell type it's going to become. So when you have baby cells, they call them stem cells. Heard about those? So they can transform and turn into other cell types in the body, like liver cells or skin cells or kidney cells. Gene expression actually controls that. And at the same time, we've learned, because we've done studies where we do studies comparing young and old groups, and we can see that gene expression has a very direct impact on the aging process, and it can actually change. Now, not all of these genes are changing their expression or activity with aging, but some of them are. And what we've discovered is that these genes are directly affecting these natural mechanisms that we have. And I'll talk about some of these mechanisms and why they're very important. But just as a general rule of thumb, it's gene expression that controls these mechanisms. And by doing that, they're providing and supporting these youth preservation benefits. It's not just anti-aging, it's preserving our body's health and wellness, right? But what happens is all of us are exposed to these external aging aggressors and internal aging aggressors, okay? So on the outside, we're exposed to things like pollution and sun exposure, right? Sun, we get UVA and UVB rays. What do they do to the skin and to the body? They age it. They cause damage, right? You get lines and wrinkles and other potential aging concerns. What about smoking, right? All these free radicals we get, toxins, stress, anxiety. These are kind of funny things. Did you know that stress can age you quicker? Absolutely. In fact, your response to stress can also have a very direct impact on how you age in your health and wellness. But also on the inside, every time that you breathe, you're aging. Can everyone take a deep breath for me? You just aged. How do you feel? You just breathed in free radicals that were converted inside of your body. Isn't that great? Well, you know what? You actually have these aging aggressors that are causing that and accelerating aging, but at the same time, we have protective mechanisms. We have intrinsic antioxidants. In fact, have you heard about things like SOD or catalase or glutathione? These are antioxidants that your body actually naturally makes to help fight aging, and these things that we're exposed to on the outside and on the inside. But what happens typically, like with glutathione, for example, a very, very, very important antioxidant, its number typically declines with aging. And that's not good because it helps with antioxidant protection, with detox, and other factors in the body. And so what these do, these aging aggressors, they're actually directly impacting your cells, or even your gene expression. And that's negatively impacting these mechanisms. And so it's fighting against that innate design that our bodies have to live young with good health and wellness. And so the entire point of this product right here is to positively modulate gene expression, so at the core of aging, to be able to affect these mechanisms in a positive way to support these systemic anti-aging benefits in the product, okay? So that's kind of a high-level overview, and I'll talk about the specifics of these things. But before I do that, I want to introduce these aging defense mechanisms and the key categories of mechanisms that we're targeting. So firstly, we have antioxidant defense and protection. Second, we have detox and cellular stress response. Third, DNA protection and repair mechanisms. Fourth, tissue regeneration, very crucial for brain health, bone remodeling. Mechanisms for metabolism. And then sixth, mechanisms regulating inflammatory balance. Now, all of these mechanisms, they're working synergistically throughout the entire body. In fact, they're working in every single cell that you have. Every cell has these mechanisms, and they're working synergistically, and when they're healthily working, they're providing incredible benefits. And I want to just show a video here that talks about the inflammatory balance, one of the most important mechanisms, and why having a healthy inflammatory balance is very important for aging.
Regulation of inflammatory balance is one of the most important aging defense mechanisms because it helps repair and protect us from damage throughout the body. Here's how it works. When damage occurs, the body responds with a complex acute inflammatory response by recruiting the appropriate repair processes to the site of damage. At the first sign of damage, resident macrophages send out chemical messengers to recruit white blood cells, including neutrophils and monocytes. Monocytes are then activated and transformed into macrophages, joining neutrophils that have already arrived at the damaged tissue. The new macrophages then send out more chemical messengers, including cytokines and chemokines, to alert more white blood cells to participate in the inflammatory response. Collectively, this inflammatory process causes the blood vessels to enlarge and become more permeable, which allows the appropriate repair processes to proceed. This process represents one of several beneficial effects of the regulation of acute inflammatory balance in the body. Once the repair process is complete, the inflammatory response is turned off. However, if the inflammatory response lingers too long, does not turn off, or the system misfires, inflammation persists when it is not needed. This chronic, low-grade inflammation accelerates aging.
It's a cool video, wasn't it? Yeah. And I wish I had a sexy voice like she does, but I'm a man. So I guess that's okay. In any case, it actually continues on this really cool animation. We have these aging aggressors that we're exposed to, and they weaken these mechanisms over time, okay? And unless we can actually support and regulate these mechanisms that we have inside the body, we're going to age quicker. Did I say that backwards? I think I did. In any case, the point I was trying to make is that we have these mechanisms. They can become weaker and weaker and weaker with aging as we're exposed to these aging aggressors. But if we can support them through this product, which is what we're doing, ageLOC Wispan, we can protect these mechanisms and better fight aging. And like I mentioned, inflammation is really one of the more important ones, because inflammation is linked to a lot of bad stuff with aging, right? There's the short-term inflammation effect. Can I draw on the board here? Is that okay? Is this a permanent marker? Okay, so here's your little Inflammation 101 science. In addition to the video, inflammation is very, very important because it's part of a healthy immune response. In fact, inflammation is okay. It's good, it's normal, it's natural. And what happens, generally speaking, is you have this baseline level of inflammation, and when your body is exposed, here's your body, when it's exposed to a bacteria they eat from McDonald's, okay, I didn't say that, some kind of foreign invader that you get from wherever you go and eat or something else, what happens is you have a lot of inflammation that goes up really, really, really quick and then comes down really, really quick. Okay? That's a healthy inflammatory response. You have a lot of inflammation that goes to the site of attack to fight it off as soon as you can so that you can recover and get better and have good health, right? But what happens is when that damage lingers and you have this chronic low-grade inflammation, so here's your healthy level, we'll say, and here's your chronic low-grade inflammation. Well, what happens is when you have that higher level of inflammation inside the body, it actually hinders a healthy immune response. And so what happens is when you're exposed to that same bacteria or a foreign invader, what happens is inflammation is hindered, and so it just kind of goes up a little bit and then goes back down. Or it even just kind of goes up and stays over like that. That's very, very scientific, as you can see. But what I'm trying to say is that having too much inflammation in the body, it potentially can make you sick a lot easier, and it slows down recovery. That's why it's such a damaging, dangerous thing for aging and for health. And so if you want to stay healthy, you want to be able to lower that chronic inflammation to healthy levels, okay? And inflammation is very, very crucial and important. So I already talked about this a little bit. It all begins with gene expression. And gene expression is impacting these aging defense mechanisms to support these systemic benefits. And it all begins inside of your cells, okay? Anyone know how many cells we have? A lot. Trillions. Yes, that is the right answer. Estimated that it's about 37 trillion, but there's very, very different estimates out there in the industry. We have a lot of cells, and this is where it all begins. And the major thing behind cellular health is your ability for your cells to actually protect against damage and repair damage when it's occurred. Which is why that analogy that was given was so great, right? About the apple and the rotting, right? You can put lemon juice on it, and it's not going to rot immediately, but over time, it still will, right? But you need something to actually repair that damage, because antioxidants are important, but they're only one of the mechanisms that we're targeting. There are so many other things like tissue regeneration, metabolism, inflammation, DNA protection, repair, and they're working together to provide these comprehensive systemic benefits that all begin inside your cell. And so if you can protect your cell against damage and have a healthy cellular response, then what happens is you can see benefits in various tissues and areas of health. And right here, brain health to me is one of the more important ones. Because for me personally, I want to protect my brain. My intelligence is really, really, really high. Okay, just kidding. I'd like to think that I'm a smart guy. And so I want to protect my brain. And Its structure and function is very important. Same thing, cognition and memory. And this, I can tell you, a lot of people have mentioned to me that by taking this product, their mood has improved. You know, from just little things that, you know, maybe you're driving in a car and someone cuts you off. You know, the first thing you want to say probably isn't good, especially if you have kids and things like that. Hopefully you can keep it to yourself. A lot of people will say, hey, you know what, I'm driving in the car and I'm just more relaxed. I can respond to these things a little bit better. My mood's improved. You know, some people, you know, they have kids and they say that, you know, sometimes with having kids, there's good and bad days, and kids can sometimes get on your nerves. And not my kids. My kids are perfect, but other kids, of course, aren't perfect. And you can have hard days, you know, where you get frustrated and, you know, sick and tired, and you're like, I can't respond to this. And people have told me that by taking this product, they're able to respond better to their kids. Their mood is improved. They're just happier. They have more ánimo. That's a word in Spanish. Brain health is a very, very, very important thing, and that's an area that I actually have seen a benefit by taking this product. I read a lot of scientific papers every single day, and I've noticed that typically before taking Wispan, by about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the day, I get this brain strain where I just can't focus anymore, and I can't read and understand, and I just pretend to do work so that my bosses think that I'm actually working, and when in reality I'm like, okay, I'm just passing the time, I don't know what's going on. I actually do work hard. But as a result of taking Wispan, I don't have that same effect anymore. I feel like just my focus has improved, it's a lot better, and my ability to just focus on things and concentrate on things a little bit longer has definitely improved as a result of taking this product. So brain health is a key organ to target, and a lot of people are seeing benefits in that area. A lot of people as well are seeing benefits in their heart. Now some people might say and might feel a difference and say, I can feel my heart getting healthier, right? Easier said than done. But there's certain mechanisms or biomarkers of a healthy heart. This one I particularly like, this blood vessel integrity and elasticity. It's important for circulation. So one thing that I've noticed by taking the product is that my hands and feet don't get as cold. So I've noticed improved circulation, especially to my extremities. And of course, if it's going to my extremities, I have improved circulation to my heart, to my brain as well. And this blood vessel integrity and elasticity is very important. You actually want elastic blood vessels because when they are not very elastic, they become hard. That can hinder circulation and hinder heart health. Normal blood glucose control. There's a lot of people that will benefit from this, that suffer and experience different levels of blood glucose regulation in their body. And you know, to regulate that is very, very critical for heart health, nerve health, and many other things, and healthy blood pressure too. All these biomarkers of a healthy heart, we've identified gene expression that impacts these to provide that incredible benefit. Oh my goodness, there's more. Wow, this is a lot of health benefits to talk about. I hope you can memorize this by the end of this talk. No, it's not important. Metabolic health, this is very important because with aging, there's a theory of aging that there's this shift in our metabolism. And we can actually fight against that with this product. In science, they actually call it a metabolic reprogramming of sorts. Okay? Where what happens with aging, typically, what happens with fat? It sticks, right? It stores, it stays in your gut and other parts of your body, and it's hard to get rid of. And that's because there's this shift in our metabolism where our bodies tend to store more and more fat with aging. That just typically happens. And it actually uses less and less glucose as its primary source of fuel, as opposed to a younger metabolism where we're using more and more fat and less glucose. Okay? And so this product, it's not a product that's going to be a quick fix for weight loss. I don't anticipate people will take it and lose a whole bunch of weight. Okay? That's not the point of this. The point of this metabolic health is that it's a key theory of aging, and that it's helping to fight against that change in metabolism that is linked to negative side effects with the aging process, if that makes sense. And oh my goodness, there's more benefits. Skin health, bone health, joint health, eye health, physical performance, immune health. I mean, these are all things that we can anticipate from this product. And I truly believe that not everyone will see every benefit in every single area of the body, because I believe in this theory that's called the theory, maybe this is too scientific and I won't talk about it. There's a theory where nutrients go in the body where they're needed in the moment at the expense of what the body needs in the long term, okay? And so perhaps somebody is suffering from, let's say, a lot of inflammation, okay? And maybe that's the area where these nutrients are going to focus on, and they're going to help that. And as a result of a healthy inflammation, they're going to see their immune system improve, okay? And hopefully not get sick as much or sick as often. And their recovery is going to improve, okay? Maybe other people, they're definitely going to see it in their skin health. They're going to see their skin health improve. They're going to look a little bit younger. Anyone know that good nutrition on the inside can actually help you age better on the outside? Absolutely. Notice bone health improvement. Notice joint health. Some people's vision is probably going to improve. Physical performance. This to me is an exciting thing. There's actually some really good research, even third party, on just the individual ingredients, not even looking at the gene science, improving physical performance. Things like even fish oil, CO210, and some new research coming out about reserve cells. All of these things that can potentially have an incredible impact on this. There's a lot of benefits out there. And these are just the experts. So here's a very scientific picture of a brain. We put another picture of a heart or muscle or other tissues in the body, but this is an example that I wanted to show you where all these mechanisms are working synergistically together to fight aging. Okay, DNA protection, tissue regeneration, neurogenesis. That's kind of a fancy word for saying creation of neurons, okay, or brain cells that we have. That's very, very important because what happens with aging typically in the brain is it shrinks, and a lot of it has to do with neurotrophic factors that ensure that neurons grow to full maturity. Okay, and so if neurons aren't growing to full maturity and they're dying off prematurely, then this can be negatively impacted. Cellular stress response, this is important too. Our bodies can respond to stress, but so can our cells. Okay, and a healthy cell stress response is very critical for aging well. Antioxidants, inflammation, metabolism, all these important. The only thing I want you to know from this is that they're working synergistically inside of the brain and other tissues in the body to provide these incredible benefits. Okay, science. I love the science. So this is what I love. This is an incredible study. And in fact, based on the results of this study, we decided to open up a clinical study with our product at a university in Utah at their Brain Institute, doing some incredible work on brain health and cognition and some other really cool things. This is a study of healthy individuals, ages 60 to 81. Typically in that age group, that's where you're going to see the most dramatic and the most rapid declines in cognition. So your ability to remember and recall and process information. And what we're seeing here, when you actually compare the placebo to the age-lock ingredient, the ingredients in this study are actually citrus bioflavonoids. You heard about those ingredients? Those are ingredients that actually you get primarily from citrus peels. In any case, you can see that when you compare the age-lock ingredient at 8 weeks to the placebo, you can see age-related decline in the placebo. And with the age-lock ingredient, you can actually see an increase in cognition. It's really an incredible thing, and that's in healthy people. These are in healthy older adults who don't have these signs of age-related cognitive, I don't want to say a condition here, age-related cognitive impairment, if that makes sense, okay? Where they're losing cognition. They actually haven't experienced that. And so some people will tell me, hey, I'm really healthy, so I don't need to take supplements, or I don't need to improve my health, there's nothing I can do about it. When in reality, there's actually a lot that you can do about it. There's biomarkers of aging that are happening in all of us, and improving those can actually help people's health and wellness, even if they're super healthy. And there's other mechanisms that work here, and I want to talk about each one of them very, very quickly. So antioxidants are important, okay? This is one theory of aging, that we have free radicals. Heard about free radicals before? Yeah? So free radicals, they are these unpaired electrons that are highly reactive. So electrons like to be paired to be happy, and if they're not paired together, if they're single electrons, then they're unhappy, they've got a frowny face, and they cause havoc and damage in our cells, to our DNA, to our proteins. They can cause lipid peroxidation. In any case, it's this theory of aging where free radicals are causing damage. But there's antioxidants that we have, both extrinsic antioxidants that we get from our diets, but also intrinsic antioxidants that are actually synthesized or created inside of our bodies. So Weissman is working on both angles with this mechanism to provide benefits. So LDL, have we heard about LDL before? Yeah, it's kind of bad cholesterol. It's not really that bad, but in high levels with other factors, it can be bad for you. Well, LDL becomes worse when it becomes oxidized, okay? When LDL cholesterol becomes oxidized, that's when it becomes more sticky, and sticky stuff inside of your body is not good, okay? And so this is just showing that this age-lock ingredient is able to help delay that LDL oxidation. So detox and cell stress is very, very important. How your cells respond to stress, just like as you respond to stress, is a very, very crucial factor in aging. Many things are involved in this, from detox, DNA protection, repair, to even apoptosis. You actually have genes that control when a cell is going to die off, when it's been damaged to the point that it can't be repaired anymore. And so you want this healthy regulation of a stress response inside your body. In this study, collagen serves as the stressor to platelets. You heard about platelets before? There are things that clot inside of your body. And so when collagen is actually exposed to platelets, they become activated, in other words, sticky, and they aggregate, in other words, they clump together, okay? And so this is just showing you, if we were to look at the placebo group, you can actually see an increase in this factor that we're looking at. In any case, you can actually see a decrease in this activation and aggregation of platelets in this study looking at a stressor that can impact that. And I won't even get into SYK tyrosine. I can't even pronounce that in any case. I don't want to talk about these kinase regulators that are part of this mechanism of platelet activation and aggregation. So DNA protection and repair. This is a very, very critical thing. Okay? You want to protect your DNA against damage, but when it gets damaged, you want to repair it as soon as you can, right? Just like the apple analogy. If you have damage, you want to repair it, right? I mean, it's one thing to protect and help to preserve against the damage, but repairing it is also very, very, very crucial. And so that's what this is talking about. It's a key example. So here we have telomeres. Have you heard about telomeres before? It's kind of a key trigger word in aging right now. There's a lot of new science and research coming out about this. So if I had another picture of a chromosome over here with a shorter telomere, it would be an older cell. Because typically what happens with the aging process is every time that our cells divide, these telomeres, or these end caps at the end of our chromosomes, they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that they practically disappear. And what happens with that is that our DNA becomes more exposed to damage, right? And DNA damage is not good. That can cause mutations and damage and accelerate the aging process. And so this is a study showing that these age-lock ingredients that we have, in this study it's the omega-3 fatty acids, they can actually help to improve this ratio. And by improving this ratio, in other words, decreasing these omega-6s and increasing omega-3s, you can actually lengthen these telomeres, helping to preserve and fight against the aging process. It's really, really fascinating stuff. And when we have other research studies looking at these ingredients and their impacts on increasing repair enzymes and other factors involved in this, but isn't this cool stuff? I think it's cool stuff. So, tissue regeneration. I talked about it being very, very important for bone turnover and remodeling. It's also very important in the brain. So this is a particular neurotrophic factor called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So I don't expect you to go Google that, even though some of you probably will. It's a really, really important thing. What you need to know about this neurotrophic factor is that it helps to ensure that dendrites are growing out of your neurons. And dendrites, what they do is they help to ensure that neurons are growing to full maturity, but they also help with what's called synaptic plasticity. Yeah, tell that to your friends. That's a cool word, huh? It has nothing to do with how plastic your brain is. It has to do with connectivity of brain cells, okay? And just like when you go to school, for example, they tell you that there's more than one way to learn. And if you want to remember something, right, you want to hear it, you want to write it down, you want to see it, right? The more ways that you can actually connect these brain cells, the better your memory is and your recall will be, right? So that has a lot to do with this connectivity of brain cells. And this is a study looking at an increase of BDNF with an age-lock ingredient. And it's in serum. It's actually a human study in individuals who had experienced some kind of post-traumatic distress. And in fact, in this particular study, they were looking at this because there's a link between low levels of BDNF and depression. And so they wanted to see if they could actually increase BDNF and measure that difference in the serum to see if it could help slow against or help protect against the chance of this stress leading to depression. So it's really, really cool, fascinating stuff. Well, I think it's fascinating. But it's just showing that by improving this aspect in serum, which is linked and correlated to levels that you have in the brain you can help to potentially preserve brain tissue. That's really, really cool stuff, and brain volume. So it helps you be smarter, and it helps you with cognition and memory. It's incredible stuff. Oh my goodness, there's another mechanism. So this is a lot of mechanisms, isn't it? And if you were to read a lot of the scientific literature in anti-aging, you would find a lot of these things come up. In fact, that's to me what's so great about this product, is that it's not just one mechanism that we're targeting, right? Antioxidants, they are super important. But you know what? It's more than just antioxidants that you need to fight aging, right? You need all of these mechanisms working together. So the great thing about this product is that it's really putting together some of the best theories in anti-aging together in one single product to provide these incredible systemic benefits. So this is inflammation. We already talked a little bit about it. This is a study. It's a long-term study where patients were actually given resveratrol, the key anti-aging ingredient, and they looked at inflammation with different markers. So this is high-sensitivity C-reactive protein. This is tumor necrosis factor alpha. It's a transcription factor in the body that upregulates a battery of genes involved in inflammation. And then this is the ratio of interleukin 6 to interleukin 10. These are cytokines. It's very critical that you memorize these things. In any case, what you need to know is that this age-lock ingredient can actually decrease these markers of inflammation. And what I think is so fascinating about this study, if you were to actually look it up, this is a study in individuals who were diabetic and had some other age-related condition, whether they were overweight or had high blood pressure or other things like that. And they were given the gold standard in medical treatment based on the best in medicine. And even despite the best in medicine, for the placebo group, you can actually see an increase in this ratio of inflammation, where if you have higher levels of this ratio, you have more inflammation. Lower levels of this ratio, you have less inflammation. And so despite the best in medical treatment, you can see that inflammation in this regard is still increasing, which gives a lot of hope for me, because we work in this alternative area of natural ingredients and supplements and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and phytochemicals that are great for everybody, right, healthy or not, to help improve some of these biomarkers of health, to help people become healthy, right, and not get sick, and improve their quality of life. Oh my goodness, there's another mechanism. Okay, let's talk about metabolism. This is the last one, I promise. So metabolism, like I talked about briefly, there tends to be this shift with aging where our bodies store more fat, and it doesn't use glucose anymore as its primary source of fuel, or at least there's kind of generally that shift that happens. This is a study looking at triglycerides. Heard about triglycerides before? There's fats that hang out in your bloodstream. In fact, too many of these triglycerides that hang out in your bloodstream, they can be very bad for cardiovascular health, because they kind of get in the way of circulation and other things like that. They can lead to the hardening of your arteries. And so reducing triglycerides can improve cardiovascular health, but it's also showing and hinting at this shift in metabolism with these ingredients and helping them to use fat as a source of fuel. Really, really cool stuff. So the bottom line is that these mechanisms, they really are bringing together some of the best theories in anti-aging all together in one product, right? The best in DNA protection, repair, and telomere science, and all these things really coming together. And it's based on this gene science that provides these systemic anti-aging benefits. So number 2. Oh my goodness, I'm only a third of the way through. Okay, just kidding. This was actually the bulk of my presentation, just so you understand. The rest is going to go super, super quick. But this is also very important stuff, because I want to talk to you about our gene science and these insights into healthy aging. So we already covered this. Our purpose and our focus in anti-aging and being an anti-aging company is going to the source. It's going to the core, right? Because aging is so complex and multifactorial, what we do is with our gene expression science, we can get a very global picture of aging in a very short period of time. And it's really incredible stuff. And that's what we do. We go to the source, whereas other people, they go to the signs and symptoms. So like, for example, if you're tired all the time, what do you go for? What do you eat? Or drink? Yeah, or coffee? Yes, all of that stuff, right? A whole bunch of sugar, a whole bunch of caffeine, maybe some ephedra. Okay, that's good. You get a whole bunch of stimulants inside your body that in excess can be very damaging, right? And although they do provide this temporary lift and boost to your energy levels, what happens? about 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours later, depending on your individual, right? You come crashing down. In fact, a lot of times you lose more energy than where you began. And so what do again? You go for more coffee, more sugar, more caffeine. And it's really this negative cycle of trying to treat this sign or symptom of, oh geez, I am super tired. This is this sign of aging happening inside of my body. And so I'm just going to try and treat that so I can feel a little bit better at the expense of maybe my long-term health and wellness, right? In fact, do you have Red Bull? Didn't they used to tell you it gives you wings? Yeah. They didn't tell you how long those wings lasted though, right? Right? Gives you wings and then you're going to start falling down. That's what happens. Too much sugar and caffeine is just not good for you. It's not good for your health. Our purpose is we go to the source, right? We look at gene expression that's actually controlling aging. When it comes to energy levels, heard about mitochondria? Little organelles inside of your cells. So the number and function and efficacy of your mitochondria actually declines with aging, right? And that's energy at its source. We've identified genes that impact the mitochondria to be able to reset those genes back to a more youthful level. It's incredible stuff. So this is our acquisition of Pharmanex, well, and LifeGen for that matter. That's why Nu Skin's so great. We were founded in 1984 with the philosophy of using all the good and none of the bad. And then Pharmanex came along and they said, hey, do you know what? Let's just buy them out. This is a great company. It's an innovative company. They have a great way of providing effective solutions using a pharmaceutical approach. So we bought Pharmanex, and it's now part of the Nu Skin family. And then LifeGen came along, and we said, hey, let's buy them too. That's why Nu Skin's so great. We're getting so big, we can just buy whoever we want and bring them into the fold. LifeGen, what's so great about this acquisition is they bring the largest collection of gene expression data of its kind in the industry. There's just nothing else out there that compares. Because of their research and the years that they've put into studying aging in different tissues and looking at those changes in gene expression over different points of time and being able to see that change and that difference. And then we come along and we actually do something about it. Because we want to study and understand aging. That's important to us. But more important than that is, well, we can see that we're aging and that's affecting us. But the question is, what can we do about it? And can we do something positive about it, right? And that's where Pharmanex comes along, is we say, hey, let's test a whole bunch of some of the best ingredients. And what we do is we put them on this gene chip. So we give these ingredients to groups, and then we take samples from those groups and we put them on a gene chip, okay? And one single gene chip can give you like a photograph of gene expression in one moment in time, okay? So it's like a photo of gene expression of 20,000 genes all at once. But what we do with that is we take multiple pictures or multiple experiments in different groups and different tissues at different points in time. And so we have our young group, right? And we compare that to our old group. And out of these 20,000 genes, what we want to identify and focus on are the genes that are expressed differently with aging, right? In fact, out of these 20,000 genes, depending on the group and the sample, there's really only about 1,000 to 6,000 or so of these genes that are changing in expression levels with aging. And so once we identify those, we can test a whole bunch of incredible nutrients, okay? We call an ingredient library. And we pass it through this age-log filter, or this gene expression profiling testing that we're doing. And as a result of that, right, we test dozens and dozens and dozens, some of the best ingredients, from pomegranate to cordyceps to ginseng to blueberry. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then what we do is, after we screen for it, we can identify the ingredients that are positively influencing gene expression to be more youthful. It's really incredible stuff. And this is a different looking heat map. For those of you that have been with Nu Skin, you haven't seen something like this before. But to me, this really represents the next generation of our gene science. Whereas previously we looked a lot at just individual genes and group of genes, this is actually a gene expression pathway. So GO is a gene ontology. That's just a term for a specific pathway that's involved in this mechanism of inflammation. And as you can see, this Z-score is a term that represents the standard deviation. Okay, now I'm getting way too technical. Z-score is going up, so it's just showing that gene expression is increasing or being upregulated with aging. And with age-lock ingredients, you can see that it's going down. So from a biological standpoint, the great thing about this, what's so incredible, is that we literally are reversing the aging process and opposing the aging process inside of ourselves. That's literally what's going on. It's really incredible stuff. So these are different colors, and these are things at the bottom that you should all read and memorize, because these are all the individual genes. It makes up over 100 genes in this particular pathway. Really, really cool stuff, including some heat shock proteins involved here that are being modulated as a result of taking this product. So number 3, this is a blend of ingredients you just can't get, even if you have a really healthy diet, okay? And there's 3 major reasons why you can't get it even if you have a healthy diet. One is because these ingredients come from various parts of the world. Number 2, just because of your typical diet and lifestyle. And then number 3, it's that it's about getting the right dose. Okay, you might be getting some of these ingredients, but you're probably not getting the dose that's actually found in our product. Okay, so these are some of the ingredients in our products, in our global ingredient blend. In Alaska, they consume a lot of big fish. In Peru, they consume what's called purple corn. Anybody heard about purple corn before? Yeah. You probably don't go down to the store and buy it here in New Zealand. Maybe you do. Probably not. It's more likely found in places like Peru and some other places in South and Central America. And what they do, even if they were to buy it, they don't typically eat it like a normal, corn on the cob. What they do is they actually boil the cob, they extract the juice, and they make a drink out of it. It's called the chicha morada. Any of you have had it? It's a nice alcoholic drink. I haven't had it personally, but I've heard it tastes really good. But the point I want to make is that Peru is known for these superfoods, and purple corn is definitely one of them. There's some really, really awesome new third-party research on purple corn, on its impacts on things like metabolism and glucose regulation, even inflammation and antioxidant protection. It's really an incredible ingredient. And in France, anyone been to France before? I'm so jealous of all of you. I haven't been there. I'd love to go because in France, so they're actually known for low rates of cardiovascular disease, which is incredible when you think about it, because they have diets that are very, very high in things like cholesterol and saturated fat, which may not be as bad for us as what we once thought. But nevertheless, it's part of this French paradox. And perhaps it's their fish consumption, maybe their red wine consumption. Red wine has resveratrol and rosemary. Scandinavia, they eat a lot of anchovies. Mediterranean diets, they have some rosemary, tomatoes, good source of lycopene. Citrus fruits, they actually eat the peel there. In Japan, in the Okinawa region, so to speak, they eat a lot of algae, great source of astaxanthin, an incredible anti-aging ingredient, and onions. I don't know if they just eat the onions and just chew it, or maybe they put it in other stuff. I haven't been to Japan either, but in any case, just great anti-aging ingredients. And as you can see, in these, we have ingredients coming from these sources, coming from different parts of the world. And so unless you're traveling all over the place, you're likely not getting all these ingredients on a regular basis. Number 2, this blend, because of your diets, you're just not getting these ingredients. So citrus peels, most people will eat some citrus fruits, like oranges or lemons or limes or grapefruits or things like that. They're very, very good for you. But a lot of these beneficial compounds are actually found in the rind of the fruit. Yeah, that's where these bioflavonoids particularly come from. And is it common to eat the peel here, or the rind? Yeah. Has anyone tasted it before?
Yes.
What does it taste like? Very bitter, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's very good for you, but it's still very bitter, and so it's not commonly consumed. Purple corn, already talked about that, and anchovies. So, does anyone eat anchovies? It's like you guys eat more anchovies. I've never eaten anchovies. They just don't look very appetizing to me. If I had to choose between anchovies and a nice looking, salmon or shrimp or something like that, I'm probably going to go with the salmon. Well, that's just my preference. But throughout the world, it's not very, very common to actually consume these, even though it's a very quality source of fish oil and EPA and DHA. In fact, anybody know it's the primary source of our fish oil in Weiss Beer? Yeah? Anyone know why? It's not because of their looks. It's because they're very, very pure sources of EPA and DHA. They're very small critters inside the ocean. Usually with fish, the bigger the stuff, the more contaminated it is, okay? And so that's why it's so great. We also do a lot of testing to ensure that it doesn't become oxidized. If you were to smell our fish oil, or go to our plant where it's manufactured, it wouldn't be a fishy smell, which is ironic. Anyone know what causes fish to smell bad? When it gets old, when it becomes oxidized, actually. So when it's exposed to a lot of light and high temperature and air or oxygen, things like that. And so we actually have a process to ensure that it doesn't become oxidized, and we do a test to ensure that the peroxide value, or this measure of oxidation, is very slim to none. So our fish oil is great, by the way. Some of the best quality stuff that you'll ever find. And we have a concentrated source of it in our product. So these are actual raw ingredients in our product. Anyone want to guess what this orange stuff is? That's a good guess. That's what everybody guesses, but it's actually not right. It's CoQ10, coenzyme Q10. So CoQ10 is a very incredible ingredient. It's in our product. Anyone guess what this white, off-yellow crystalline powder is? You're never going to guess it either, so I'll just tell you. It's alpha-lipoic acid. Okay? In fact, alpha-lipoic acid, based on third-party research, one of the most important ones you can take for blood glucose regulation. And by doing that, it can help to potentially protect against nerve damage. So, very, very, very important ingredient. Good antioxidant, inflammation effects, and some other things. This is usually green, but it's converted to an oil. It's rosemary. You would never guess that either, so I didn't ask. But yeah, these are ingredients that you're getting, and maybe you're getting a little bit in your diets, but the amount of CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid and rosemary you get is probably very, very, very small. So like CoQ10, you can make it a little bit in your body, but its levels decline with aging. And from dietary sources, it's very, very small. You're likely getting about 5 to 10 times more CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid than you would in a typical diet. Okay, so you're getting a lot more, hard to get from even a healthy diet. So it also comes in a cool technology called LeadCap. LeadCap looks like a regular capsule, but it's a little bit different in that you can't pull it apart like a regular capsule. Okay? Because what happens is it's actually fused together or sealed together, and what that does is it allows us to put these powder and solid ingredients in one, right? Or powder and liquid ingredients in one product. So what this does is it reduces the number and size of capsules, which is great for me because I believe that this is going to improve compliance. Some people sometimes complain about taking too many capsules, and I always tell them, well, get over it. In fact, so the real reason there's so many capsules with some of our products is that we have effective doses of these ingredients, and to get the right dose, sometimes they take up space. So you have to get that number of capsules to get the right to get the effective benefits you're looking for. Someone once told me, they're like, hey, do you know what? We've done some research, and we say, hey, do you know what? We can recommend 5 or 6 capsules in each product, or we've done research looking at suppositories. And so you can either put it up the other end, or you can take 6 capsules, and that usually shuts them up. So that's actually not true, but I thought it was a clever story. I don't know why I said that. Okay. Cool technology. Really great. It's quick acting. And in fact, quick acting capsules, they're very, very, very thin. They're very easy to swallow. Incredible stuff. So in the end, this is my last slide. We truly believe and see, based on the science and based on just a few testimonials so far, that this product is revolutionary. I truly believe that it's a game changer. This is a product that I'm taking. I feel different, but everyone's experience has been a little bit different. They see it in their brain and their heart. Some people, balance, coordination, mood, energy, sleeping, just inflammation, improving pain. Some people complain of pain, and it's just gone away as a result of taking this product. Just these benefits are absolutely incredible. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, I truly believe that health is one of the most important assets. Because, I want to age well, and I want to be able to live to see my kids grow up and my grandkids grow up, and, I want to be a 90-year-old grandpa playing with my little grandkids. I want to have more energy than they do. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope it will. But one thing that I do know is that by protecting my health and taking good nutrition and good products right now, it's definitely going to pay off in the long run. That's one thing that I'm for certain of, and that's why I think the value of this product is great, because people will see, hopefully, some benefits in the short term. A lot of people will, but for sure in the long run, it's just protecting against these negative side effects with aging, and for that, I just don't think you can pay a price for that.
The difference between R squared and Y spin. So a lot of people are maybe using R squared today, what would be the benefit of R squared versus Y span, or would you take both?
Yeah, so ageLOC Y-span provides more comprehensive systemic benefits and may help a little bit with energy and detox, whereas ageLOC R squared is a targeted treatment that provides that additional boost to energy and detox in the body.
Right, so what you're saying is that the R squared part does energy and detox, but the Y span will do that as well as many other benefits?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
So that's why Y-span would be a foundational product.
Correct. Okay, got it. Thank you. There. And is there anyone you would say who could not take this supplement? Like, is there a particular health concern someone might have? They might want to check with the doctor before they would take this product?
I mean, other than the standard disclaimer where if you're pregnant or lactating or have a medical condition, just to check with a doctor ahead of time, there's no specific contraindication, so to speak, with taking it.
So all the ingredients are safe really for the vast majority of everybody. If you have a health concern, then talk to your doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great. Do we still need Life Pack? So Life Pack's our core product, those are new. Would you just take Life Pack along with, or replace it possibly with Y-span?
It's a good question. I better answer this in the right way. If not, I might get booted out of here, right? There was some misinformation. Some people thought that Y-span would replace all the benefits of Life Pack, so you can throw away Life Pack and just take Y-span. So that's not true. Although Y-span is our most advanced anti-aging product, and it would be the foundation, the most important product to take, it still doesn't replace all the benefits of Life Pack, right? All those essential vitamins and minerals and other phytonutrients inside the product. And so Life Pack should be viewed as a complementary product to Y-span. They both can be taken for synergistic benefits. But definitely Y-span would be our number one.
Okay,
because it's taken some of the best of nutrition and antioxidants in addition to our gene expression science that we've added to it.
Right. So if I can, the way I've been explaining that, just tell me if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So if we took a wagon wheel, the core product you'd take would be Y-span, the first thing you would take, and then maybe have a scan with a scanner, and if you're nutritionally, your antioxidants are low, or you're not really, that's probably going to indicate you might want to add some minerals and other nutrients, so you might take Life Pack on top of that.
You have so many good analogies. Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I would say. That's great.
Perfect. Okay, and we have here, are there any, what contraindicators might be people who are taking medication? So if someone's on a medication, would there be anything you'd see in Y-span that could affect that medication?
I mean, nothing that really stands out. Even in literature, you're not going to find a lot of good data on ingredients and potential interactions with medication. So what I always recommend to doctors is they don't need to know all the science behind the product or even all the ingredients. I mean, if they want to, that's great. You can copy off the product information page and take it to the doctor. The key thing for the doctor is for them to just monitor whatever parameter of interest it is, right? So if they're, if they're taking high blood pressure medication, just make sure that, they're taking the product and it doesn't change things dramatically, right? If they're diabetic, make sure that their, glucose and insulin levels are still healthy. Right? So they don't need to know all the science, they just need to know, oh, I need to monitor this thing so that my patient is healthy.
Right, so someone who may be taking, maybe they've got type 2 diabetes, they're on some medication, they start taking Y-span, they might see their glucose levels start to balance, just have the doctor monitor it, they may be able to reduce that medication or the doctor will adjust it to be suitable for them.
Sure.
Okay, right. Same with high cholesterol or blood pressure, just monitor it. They may see some benefits that could help them, but have the doctor do that. And always play it safe like that.
Oh, sure.
Don't self-medicate.
Don't self-medicate, that's true.
Right?
But also still create that
read it on Google and think it must be true, and so you do what you want to, right? That's not
yeah, don't Google stuff.
Yeah. Google's powerful, but you don't. Okay. Does Y-span replace other products such as Vitality and Life Pack? So we kind of covered that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great question, though. Thank you, Julia. Here, can you take Y-span with a statin? So someone who is taking a statin to help reduce their cholesterol, their bad cholesterol, the LDL, would you be able to take Y-span?
Well, so that's a good question for the doctor to answer, so I can't answer that representing corporate. One thing that I will say is there is CoQ10 inside of Y-span, and most doctors or healthcare professionals actually recommend CoQ10 to their patients because usually statins will actually deplete CoQ10 inside the body. So,
correct. So if I was on a statin, and I actually am, I would definitely be taking this product. That's not corporate, that's me. Okay, I take this product. I'll tell you a story in a minute about the product. So I have here, how long does it take before people can expect to feel the results with lifespan, do you think?
You know, I think that's a really good question, and I think we'll find out more as more and more people start to take the product. Some people are noticing it within an hour. They notice differences and effects in different areas of their body, you know, with pain levels or with, you know, brain health benefits and things like that. And for other people, it's going to take a little bit longer. So I think it depends on the person and their baseline of health and where they're at.
So I've got an essay here. No, it's not an essay. So has lifespan been assessed by WADA, W-A-D-A, which must be an organization that I'm not familiar with WADA.
World Anti-Doping Agency.
Oh, there we go. WADA, there we go. That's why I'm not familiar with that. So I don't.
So it hasn't. In fact, no supplement has, because there would be some, I forgot the term that they use in the industry, some kind of bias in the industry, because they don't test or monitor any supplements for these athletes, because then there would be what's called a conflict of interest. That was the term I was looking for. So there's actually no supplements on the market that are WADA certified.
Got it.
But what we do make sure that our products don't have any banned substances. So even though it doesn't go through that, you know, that testing, so to speak, where we pay a company money to do that, we would be 99.999999999% confident, even without the test, because we've never used banned substances in our history. In fact, in the past, we took a lot of our PharmaNex products through Olympic testing to ensure that it was free of banned substances. You know, these major categories from anabolic steroids to diuretics and things like that, and we passed with flying colors. And we've had this process in place called the 6S quality process to ensure that every single one of our ingredients are safe. So we test all of our ingredients in our lab, back in Provo or in China, or both. And we test all the ingredients to ensure that they're what they say they are, which is a good thing, that they have the active ingredients, in other words, that they have quality stuff, and that they're also free of all the bad stuff. You know, your bacteria, your E. coli, well, I could go on and on. You know, heavy metals, all that, pesticides, all the bad stuff. And so, yeah, we have an incredible testing protocol to ensure that our ingredients are safe, and then we actually double check that to ensure that our product is safe by doing all of that testing on our final product as well. And so the same thing has happened with our Lifespan product. I'd be very, very, very confident that it has no banned substances because of our testing that we take it through.
Now, just for me, just a quick thought. It's true, or would it be true that we actually can actually test it in the Winter Olympics, which actually we got some technology to actually test all the athletes and all the to make sure that no one was drug tested. I don't think like that. Is that true?
Yeah, no, that is true. And in fact, we have the same quality instrument that's used to do some of that testing. Same quality. So
it's got a large lane, chromatographic thingy, whatever thing, right?
Yes, that thing.
Yeah, got it. Okay, here we go. 5 years of R&D is a short time, I guess, to test. Do we know there's any negative side effects long term?
Well, based on that's a really good question. So based on the individual ingredients that have been used, these are ingredients that have been used for centuries, if not millennium worth of time. And so there's absolutely no question about any of these ingredients. These are natural ingredients. They're good for you. They're backed by safety data. And although the amounts are a little bit higher than what you get in a healthy diet, they're still backed by literature studies confirming long-term safety of every single one of these ingredients.
Right, absolutely. So we're not creating any synthetics. This is not a new synthetic like many drug companies would create. Most of you are familiar with the drug. Might come from a natural plant base, but then be synthesized, and that often can cause side effects. So we're dealing with a plant-based product. It's been used for a long time. There's no side effects.
Yep, no side. Well, the only side effect is that you improve your health.
You feel like twitch sometimes. I notice. You can live with that.
Yeah.
So Y-span, okay, equals youth preservation. Therefore, youths, say under 20, could they take Y-span?
Well, we developed the product for 18 years old and older.
Yeah.
Although one thing I will say is that we start aging from the day that we're born. I mean, the day that you breathe, that's the day that you start aging. And so although aging is accelerated the older that we get, really this product is designed not just for old people. Some people think that. They're like, this is a product for old people. No, this is a product for young people that want to preserve their health. And really the earlier you start, the better off. But just being conservative and being from corporate, I should say it's a product for 18 years old and over.
Oh, That's right.